All right. Hello, everybody. In order to address a need or something that is being seen across the building, instead of having another staff meeting about this, instead of taking time through data meeting or making this something that is becoming a whole that would or could very easily and has been before an entire cluster cycle, gonna do something to address a need that I'm seeing, that we're all seeing in all different grade levels, K5 in the current ELA window that we're working with. So we have been tasked with working with kids on this complex, there we go, on this complex skill and this standard. This is a power standard K12. This is something that is one of those standards that we know our kids have to master this. Yet it seems that every year I get this classroom of kids and they are clueless as to what it is that they're supposed to do, or they're seemingly confused about what exactly it is that they need to do with this standard. So the standard, and I've referenced it a lot before, this is not something that is special to our school. This is not something that is unique just to our building or one grade level. But this main idea, RN2.2. So when you look at the vertical articulation for this particular standard, these kids should be hearing this language, this academic language, in the grade before. It starts in kindergarten. So in kindergarten, we're having kids retell the main idea and very, very specific details about a text. When you ask a child to retell something, or the standard says retell, that means that they are listening to a story, or in this case, a piece of informational text, and they are retelling. So they're listening to someone read it. It's oral, and then they are to retell. Whenever the standard says recount, that means that they are reading it independently, and they are then able to recount different parts of the story, usually beginning, middle, end. With fiction, could be that for nonfiction, or other different components of the text that they're reading. So with this standard, you can see kindergarten with support. We're going to retell the main idea and key details. Kids have to know what a main idea is. Our definition of main idea, K to 5, is different in every single grade level. So that's one thing I hope to clarify and make consistent by this video. Second thing, you'll see that the standard goes from with support, that means with help. Our ultimate goal being that they can do this on their own. Retell, then we're going to identify the main idea in second grade of a multi-paragraph text and the topic of each paragraph. So now we're introducing the word topic. That word topic should be introduced in kindergarten. Jackie Stockman did a great job of putting up a fairly complex text for kindergarten students and going through this process where they have to find the topic. Without even reading, you can find the topic. And so we're going to talk about that. Third, fourth, and fifth grade, you see it's determine the main idea of a text, recount, meaning they're reading the text on their own, the key details, and explain how they support the main idea. There's a big jump there from second to third. And if we are consistent as a school in how we teach this, that big jump is not going to seem like such a big jump. Fourth grade, determine the main idea of a text and explain how it's supported by key details. Here is where it gets critical that we are teaching with some consistency. It says summarize the text. Summarize the text. I have asked several educators over the past couple of weeks, and I've seen this in classrooms. Why do kids have to be able to identify the main idea of a text and back it up with details? Numerous times I have gotten the response so that they can answer the questions on a test, or so that they can see a group of multiple choice questions and they can pick the right main idea. That is not why we need our kids to be able to find the main idea. They have to be able to take the topic, the main idea, and the supporting details, paraphrase them, and write a summary of a text. So if I were reading this entire nonfiction text about Space Camp, can I, in one sentence, tell Krista, this is the main idea. Here are some key details from this text, and summarize this in one paragraph for her so that she doesn't have to read the whole thing and come up with that on her own. The whole point of this is to get to writing a summary, which is showing reading comprehension. So in kindergarten, in first grade and second grade, if we start this with consistency, by the time our kids get to fifth grade, they can determine 2 or more main ideas from a text. Usually that's going to be with using text features such as headings, etc. You're going to chunk your text into sections, just like we do as adults. So main idea, more than one main idea of a text, and explain how it's supported and summarized. So that's a lot. Let me show you this. I promise you that if we start teaching this with consistency across the board, we will see huge gains in our fifth graders when they leave to go to sixth grade. Promise you. I also promise you, I make this promise to you, that if you break this standard down and you teach it using the same vocabulary and thinking questions that I'm about to show you, I promise you that this whole standard will become a lot more simple and manageable for you as a teacher. I promise. There are certain things that we can get rid of that we're seeing happening in classrooms that are making it convoluted and confusing for kids. There are words and things that are being used. I've heard that topic and main idea are the same thing. No, they're not. The topic is a part of the main idea. I also promise you that kids will say to you, oh, that's what we're supposed to do, when you simplify it to this. I worked with 2 EL kids last week just on these steps. They were in fifth grade, and there are light bulbs. You put these thinking questions in front of these kids as a guidance, as a guideline, and they can do it. They can do it, they get it right, and then we can start to work on paraphrasing, putting in your own words to summarize. Because that's really the new skill that we should be starting to work on in fourth and fifth grade. We are not there yet at all. I'm also going to say that before we can start putting multiple choice questions and having kids identify the best summary or the best main idea on a multiple choice thing, they have to be able to do this skill, go through this process on their own and write it open-ended. If they can think through the steps and do this sequentially, write what they need, they will be able to take what they have written and immediately compare it to the multiple choice questions and pick which one's the best, because they've done the thinking and the connecting. Are we telling kids, find the main idea, find details, write a summary? Or are we teaching kids how to think through the process? So are we giving kids a process, do, or are we showing kids and modeling for them, how do we think through this so that I can find the main idea, no matter what text I'm reading? All right, so I've been talking for a while. I'm just trying to give the why. And you might say, yeah, well, what if? But just hang in there with me. And if we start this and I give you some of these tools and things that you can use, I'm hoping that this makes it a lot easier for staff, especially when it comes to the planning process for this particular standard. I didn't want to wait until this window's over to address this, because it's something that I don't want to have to come back to it when it's a recursive standard when it comes back and then reteach it to our kids. There are a couple of teachers that have seen this in progress or seen this process, and spent a lot of time in my past working on this standard and how to make it something that's accessible for our kids to master. So I am going to use this text, Blasting Off to Space Academy. It is a text that is from Journeys. I don't have a dot cam right now, but I am going to stop sharing my screen. All right. Okay. What I'm about to do is putting about 5, maybe, mini lessons together because you're adults and you can handle it. But know that this would be broken up into several mini lessons for kids. This is a 5th grade text, and so just keep that in mind too. But as a kindergarten teacher, I want you to think about how you can use this with a piece of nonfiction text with kindergarten students. Seen it done. So, and they get it. They get it. And that's what's really important. So I want you to think about why they might get it as well. In order to have a main idea, you have to have something to go off of. You have to have a word, you have to have a concept, you have to have an idea to go off of. When looking at this standard, main idea, key details, write a summary. The very first place to start is with finding your topic. All right. Not a topic sentence, not a topic idea, but we're going to find the topic of a text. So for this particular text, I'm going to use these 2 pages. Again, it's 5th grade reading level. I thought I'd go more complex and then you can back it down to your grade. Right here, 2 pages. This is one section of one text. So, all right. First thing I need to do is I, as a reader, need to figure out what is the text mostly about in 1 to 3 words. So can I come up with a phrase or one word that is going to tell me what this is about? This is where I'm going to use those text features to help me. I don't even have to read anything. And this is going to be critical for our EL kids. I don't have to read anything. I just need to skim. And I need to look at the pictures and I need to look at any charts. What are they telling me? What information can I gather? So when I model, I'm going to think, what is the text mostly about? Do I see any repeating words? All right. And I come up with 1 to 3 words that are going to tell me about this text. So I'm finding the topic and I'm going to model, what is the text mostly about? 1 to 3 words. I cannot emphasize how important that is to communicate that to kids. So as I'm looking at this text, and I know it would be great if I had a dot cam and I could do this. I'm looking at this text and I'm going to model. And I've already done this, so I know what it is I'm modeling. So, all right, boys and girls, I'm going to think about what I need to do first. And the first thing I need to do is find the topic. What is this text mostly about? Are there 1, 2, 3 words maybe that I see repeated throughout here without even reading it? I'm just going to skim. So what is this text mostly about? Well, right here, I see the heading says pool, the pool. Okay, I know that headings give me a key about, or a clue about what the text is going to be about. And I'm trying to find what is the text mostly about. So right here, it says the pool. I am going to underline or circle, annotate the word pool. All right, again, I'm looking for my topic. What is this text mostly about in just a couple words? Now I'm going to skim it. I see a photo here and I know that's a pool. So I'm going to even annotate the photo and I'm going to write pool. I'm going to start skimming now. I'm looking. I know that pools are made of water. So I'm going to look for water, pool, anything that's going to tell me about a pool and see if maybe if that's the word I'm looking for when I'm thinking about what this is mostly about. So astronaut, looking, oh, right here. Underwater, skimming, still skimming. Oh, there's another one. Underwater. Oh, there's another one. Water. There's another pool. All right, gonna look over here. Oh, there's another pool. They're underwater. Oh, right there, water, underwater, skimming, pool. When I look at these pieces and I see this word repeated, I am going to think that the topic is probably going to be about a pool or something to do with water in a pool. So my topic, I could be wrong, but as I read, I'm going to think about the word pool. I think that is my topic. So stepping out, you write that down. You find it in the text, you underline it, you bring attention to that word that you think is the topic in the text. Because I bet we're going to find clues about our key details around that word, and we're going to check and see if we're right. So, what is the topic? What is the text mostly about? No, it has to be 1 to 3 words. I'm going to go with the word pool, and I'm going to see what I can find in this text. Done. That in itself can be a mini lesson. I've seen that done with kindergarten. They looked at the text and they looked at the pictures, and they knew, because they know their letters, they knew that the text had pictures of bees all over it. And then Mrs. Stockman read the text very slowly out loud, and she was saying, what is this text mostly about? What words do I see repeated? And just because kids knew what a capital B was, they were able to look and see that the word bee was all over it. And so they wrote down, they think that their topic is bee or bumblebee. And it's fun. It's like a little scavenger hunt for them. So when thinking about kindergarten and the different ranges that we're looking at, yes, I'm a proficient reader. Our EL kids, a level 1 EL child, can do that. They can find the topic of a text if they look for a repeated word. All right. So topic, what is the text mostly about in 1 to 3 words? That's the first step. I don't care if you're in 1st grade or 12th grade. That is what you do first. That is what we do first. The other reason why this is so abstract and complicated is because as adults, we're proficient readers, and we do it. We have the background knowledge. We're able to make inferences. We're able to, we know because we have the experience and practice. And so we go there. We just naturally go there. We don't break it down and think about the steps that we had to take to get there in our minds, because we do it subconsciously. Like driving a car. I get in my car and I drive. I no longer think about adjusting my mirrors, putting on my seatbelt, putting the key in the ignition, or pushing the button with my foot on the brake. I don't think about those things. I just do it. So, all right, next step. Next thing I need to do, and I'm going to start here because this is the way I want to teach it. I want to teach kids finding the main idea. Even though I know there are some other ways it can be done, I want to be very procedural in my procedural about the thinking and my process. So we're going to find the topic, and I know that the topic is going to help me find the main idea. So the very next step, separate mini lesson, main idea. All right. I need 1 complete sentence for a main idea. I am going to take my topic, pool, and I'm going to plug it in right here. So when I model, I'm going to ask myself out loud for kids, what is the author telling me about pools? I don't care about nonsensey stuff that's in there and fluff. I want to know what the author is telling me about pools. And if the author doesn't say anything about pools, my topic is wrong. But I have to think, what do I know about a pool? I know there's water in them. I know that this whole packet is about space camp and people wanting to be astronauts, because we've read some of it already. So what is the author telling me about pools? What is the author telling me about pools? Can I come up with 1 sentence? I don't know. So we're going to read. Okay. What is the author telling me about pools? So let's try it. The pool. Another way the earthbound astronauts simulate working in weightlessness is by going underwater. All right. So I wonder why they would go underwater if they're wanting to be astronauts in space. That's just something I'm thinking about. At Houston's Lyndon B. Johnson Space Center, astronauts practice in a huge water tank holding a full-scale model of the shuttle's payload bay. Okay, so they practice in a huge water tank, like a pool. I'm going to underline that. The size of the shuttle. At the Space Academy, the kids went to the swimming pool. Okay, so real astronauts use this thing at their space training place. At space camp, they go to a pool. I've been in a pool before, because I have that background knowledge. All right, your job is to build a cube underwater as fast as possible, said Bethany. It takes teamwork and ability to work in weightlessness. Oh, and something astronauts don't need, I hope, an ability to hold your breath. Okay, so they have to build a cube underwater as fast as they can with their team because of this weightlessness. So I'm going to underline that. Now, stepping out, annotating a text for the topic is going to be a mini lesson in itself. But I'm moving on. You know, what is the author telling me about pools? So we're going to build something in this pool with our team because we're training, we're in space camp, like we're training to be astronauts. The water started boiling as kids grabbed struts and dove underwater. It kept boiling as they came up for air again and again, slowly realizing they needed a better plan. 10 minutes and 56 seconds, Bethany said when they finally finished. Well, every astronaut has to start somewhere. How could you have gone faster? All right, so talking about building something underwater. Well, I know you can't talk to your team underwater. Talk more to each other, said Isabel. That's right, Bethany agreed. Communication, letting your leaders lead in teamwork. It's true in the pool, and it will be even more important when you work to make your own space mission a real success. All right, so what is the author telling me about pools? Well, I know these kids had to train in a pool. Stepping out again, I would make connections to the annotations that I made to get to this point, but I'm trying to speed things up. So stepping back in, what is the author telling me about pools? Well, I know right here that these kids practiced in a swimming pool building something together underwater. I know they're training to be astronauts, and I know that they had to really work on their communication. So what I need to do now is try to put that into one sentence. What is one sentence that I could write that would say what I just said? Stepping back out. When I do my main idea sentence, that sentence that I write should have the topic. It should have the topic in it. So if you have a main idea sentence that does not have the topic in it, you're misaligned. That is key. That is a critical attribute, that the topic has to be in your main idea sentence. All right. So I'm going to continue on and think about this. I think that the main idea, based on my connections, and I know I have to have the word pool in there, this is about training in a pool. So these kids are training in a pool like they would train to be astronauts. So the main idea of this passage could maybe be training in a pool helps teams learn how to communicate or work together. All right, training in a pool helps teams learn how to communicate or work together. Gonna check myself. Do I have one complete sentence? Training in a pool? Yes, I do. Is my topic of the word pool in that sentence? Do I see the word pool? Training in a pool? I do. I'm going to underline it. That is the main idea of this text. I know this because I've got my topic. I've got text features giving me clues. I read through it. I'm going to go with this as my main idea. So stepping out. There's a lot that goes into that. You might get several variations of that. But if you have gone through this thinking just like this yourself as a teacher, and you have identified the main idea, and you have kids doing something like this after your model, you know exactly what it is that you're looking for. And that is critical too. I promise you. Skim it, find a word that repeats itself. Ask yourself, what is this text mostly about? Can I narrow it down 1 to 3 words? And when I say 1 to 3 words, it should be a phrase like training in pool, or pool training. I don't mean 3 separate words. Critical. And then you say, what is the author telling me about training in pools? And that's what you annotate for, and that's what you think and connect. Kids will come to the conclusion. They will come to a sentence that is a main idea, and they have to be able to do that on their own before they can apply it to a multiple choice question. When I look at this article as a whole, and I did this, so the whole, not article, but the whole text, the topic of it is space camp. So then I read the whole text asking myself, what is the author telling me about space camp? So did my annotations, and I came up with children can go to space camp to learn how to be astronauts. Gonna check myself. Do I have a full sentence? Yes. Is my topic in my main idea? Children can go to space camp. Yes. I'm gonna underline it. I think I've established a main idea. Now you might say, well, you need to, you might say, well, you need to find the key details before you can find the main idea. Or you might say, that's too hard, kids can't do that. Or you might say, what about the kids that can't read on grade level, or kids that can't read? Or what about our level 1 EL students? I did this with a level 1 EL student. I orally asked him those thinking questions, and he told me back, and I scripted for him his answer. He did a great job. I'm telling you, if you give kids tips and tricks and tools to work around this, they can do it. And if you think that they can't, then they're not going to. So wanted to give some feedback on that and just take you through the process. There's more about getting into the key details, but if we are working on topic, main idea, the key details fall into place because they've annotated in their text the topic, and the details are going to be around that 9 out of 10 times. And you as the teacher have to know what the main idea is of the text before you can model it with kids. Non-examples or answers that would not be acceptable that I see a majority of kids doing because they're doing what's modeled, because we don't know, this is so complex. And I've had the benefit of spending a lot of time field testing this in many, many different grade levels over the last years. So non-examples are things that kids will write because we accept it and we model with these. If a kid were to write where kids go to space camp, that is not a main idea. Can they start a paragraph summarizing with where kids go to camp? That can maybe be a title of a heading, but that is not correct grammar or the way you would start a summary. We want them to put the main idea as the first part of their summary down the road. This is probably the most commonly accepted answer. The majority of kids will do this. It is a trend. Watch, you're going to see it. It's because of how we teach it. This is a non-example of a main idea. This is not correct. It says how to go to space camp. That is a no-no. It kind of goes along with the same one up here. But when we say, what's the main idea of a text? They're going to say how to do something. Not a complete sentence. And it's a question, really. The main idea is not to be an astronaut, to be an astronaut. That is not a main idea. Here's another common one. The main idea is, oh, so we've got a whole sentence. That's good. The main idea is about space camp. No, that's the topic. Space camp is the top. That's what this is about, but what is the author telling me about it? This is often referred to as a topic sentence. That is where confusion lies. It really is topic sentence. That needs to go. So what topic sentence is it's saying that a sentence like this is really talking about just the topic, not the main idea of the text. So the main idea is about space camp. These are no's. No, 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 no. And I would encourage and push you to be very careful and cognizant about the fact that you can, but it could be a sentence stem, but we don't want to start off our main idea sentences with the main idea is, because it's going to lead to things like the main idea is how to go to space camp. The main idea is how to be an astronaut. The main idea is how we go to camp. Like those are topic sentences that aren't main idea. Remember, the main idea is children can go to space camp to learn to be astronauts. I hope that this is not very confusing or muddy. I know it's a lot, but the whole idea is that we start to gain some consistency with topic. Modeling. What is the text mostly about? Can I come up with 1, 2, 3 words that tell me what this text is mostly about? And then we go to main idea. What is the author telling me about the presidential election? Or what is the author telling me about Dunkin' Donuts? And we all know the main idea to that would be Dunkin' Donuts is the best place to get your coffee and donut treats, period. So what is the author telling me about something? Insert topic. Use that vocabulary over and over and over. If we are consistent with using the vocabulary topic and main idea, it becomes a lot easier to interchange main idea with central idea when going between Indiana and Common Core standards. So if you don't take anything from this, and thank you for your time, topic. What is the text mostly about in just a couple words? Write it down. Have kids say it. Then you go to main idea. What is the author telling me about snow? What is the author telling me about Eric's LuLaRoe leggings? So all very focused, and kids get it. I promise. The majority of kids will start to get it. If you would ever want me to come and model this for kids, I would be more than happy to. Or take you through the planning of it and just scripting out what to say and how to say it to kids, I would be more than happy to do it. This is the kind of stuff that I like to do. This is the stuff that makes me really love education. And then you see the light bulbs go off. So if we simplify some things, we're consistent across the board with language and how we're doing it and the thinking, I promise, this will not be such a complicated standard for us to teach. So, and sometimes the main idea is right there in the text, but can kids identify that because they're thinking about it, not just trying to use that trick? So thank you. I know this is long. I appreciate it. I'm hoping that you're able to watch it and take something away from it. Thanks.